Hello, and welcome back. Well, we left Ayana in a little bit of quandary here, because she can't attack an enemy without closing into short range, and not only that, short range against two potential opponents. And regardless, I don't want to move her onto a river, because that turn delay, forget that. Now, there was something I wanted to talk about last time, but I didn't really have time for it, which is designing a good defense mission is really hard, especially for a turn-based game, because we don't want the player to be able to just sort of cluster his troops around the defense target and stand there, which is why moving defense targets, aka escort missions, are so much more popular. Everyone loves those. Though once again, I have to say Ring of Red does it pretty well. And, of course, in real-time games, you can have attacks from multiple angles that you have to react to, and the combat is, in general, a bit more involved in that kind of situation. Or there are enemies that you just have to respond to, like sitting in place isn't going to help you. And by the way, you saw John's initial placement. He was way up in the mountains, and he would not be able to contribute with all that scout assistance. One of those two scouts is Moro, which, well, I found it difficult to place that one. He's a green squad. You might have noticed we got him last map, and it has two really big strengths. First of all, it gives twice as much extra distance on the tactical map as normal. You can attack from a ridiculous distance with that guy. Also, I was impatient and didn't wait the 1 or 2 extra seconds for that other recon to get a snipe ready, and that's definitely going to cost me. I should know better by now. Well, we're going to see the results pretty soon. However, the other thing that Moro has is extreme armor. Nothing's going to bother him. Well, that's not quite right, but if just put forward and left on the front lines, Moro is going to do really well. I'm glad that's not the literal truth, by the way. If we couldn't actually take any more damage, first of all, why did I attack if that's the case? But looking at this situation, this enemy does not have that much health. It might be better to just shoot at him 3 times and just end the battle right there. Also, why is it walking forward? Well, I beg your pardon. So I don't really blame developers from coming up with those defensive but actually offensive missions. With a game like Ring of Red, I can really imagine, especially in a mission where it's supposed to be really hard and the enemies are supposed to be strong, I can imagine that they wouldn't want it to make a boring, or even worse, an easy mission in that case. And well, I can't really say that I have a better solution. And today I learned something about Snipe. It has a maximum damage. As mentioned before, I can never kill more than one member of a squad with it. However, if the armor is high enough, it can kill less. It can hit an enemy and not kill it, which is very rare. But what can I say? It apparently happens. And that little realization meant that I couldn't finish their squad. Too late to worry about that now. But even though John just moved and attacked, and Forelegs are rather slow to get turns, that medium AFW on the river is still not going to be able to do anything about it, because rivers delay your turn that much. And Weisegger gets a turn just at the right time to start finishing off the enemy, and you should probably expect that to happen a lot. Like, a lot. I'm going for the foreleg because, of course, that machine is not on a river. Oh wow, they are really insistent about putting that infantry forward. They shouldn't have. I was terrified that they'd finally load up that ink shrap and start killing my guys. But they didn't. So, hooray. Oh, wait, no. I was reading it wrong. They in fact did put forward the supply units and load the ink shrap. For that reason, it seemed like a good idea to just put one of my squads forward, even though it's the more fragile squad, because my recon aren't really going to do that much, and oh wait, no, never mind, they didn't even get time to load a shell. So, John managed to put me in a really bad situation by not finishing off that ink shrap infantry, but it was his anti-AFW shots that saved the day. That's why I find John's machine to be one of the more interesting ones, speaking from a tactical viewpoint. His skills are definitely anti-infantry. However, his really fast aiming and excellent power also makes him a good AFW killer, which in some games would mean, well, he can do both things. That means he's OP, but he has other problems which prevent that, and I appreciate it. Now, Kinsato needs to back up. He needs to get out of the way. I don't want to put him in woods, of course, but, well, if I moved him forward, everyone that was ahead would attack him, and he's not up to that. He's definitely not up to that. On the other hand, apparently past me is more clever than I thought. He's outside of range of the really nasty stuff, but he might be able to lure one or two things and get rid of their squads. So, what is Ayana gonna finish off? Because she really needs to get some kills. The answer seems to be to attack that anti-AFW at short range, which, at first glance, is an awful, horrible idea. However, a few details reveal that it's actually not quite so bad. The thing is, Kinsado just stripped his troops, so it cannot use cleanup or repair, and one of Ayana's squads has E-Wire, so it'll actually be pretty one-sided. And I'd already carefully checked to make sure that the enemies in their backline can't really reach anyone else. So there's a good chance it'll work out. I'll tell you what I did not expect at the time, though, which is I didn't expect to kill that thing in one chance, because that shield is ridiculously strong. Well, not ridiculous, we're going to see that later, but AFW shields are just in general hard to deal with. Also, it does have APCR shells, so regardless of what I do, Ayana's AFW is likely to take some damage. I'd say that E-Wire might even be kind of broken, because it has two components that each has a different skill as its solution. And not even every anti-AFW has both cleanup and repair. And in addition, it would have to keep both of those squads in the back line just to counter that one skill. Whereas I just moved my stuff in front, and, well... Remember how the pushback of those supply grenades gave me trouble before? Well, this time, I'm actually trying to put some distance between us, so it works out in our favor. Now, I'm recharging the E-Wire, not because I think that their AFW can close in after all this, I mean, we're already at long range, but because in case the enemy survives, it will have completely broken legs after the battle. E-Wire does one stage of damage to the legs. There we go. I don't know, I guess I could call E-Wire the Ink Shrap of support skills. Except unlike Ink Shrap, I actually get to use it. Uh-oh. I will definitely not have time to fire a shot after this. Okay, remember when I said about the supply squads firing really fast? I take that back. I don't know what happened there, but it wasn't what I was hoping for. Well, to be fair, I just said that I didn't really expect to take it from full to nothing in one turn, but it was really close. Also, I take back my hypothesis about how stripping an enemy of squads doesn't reduce their repair. I think that what's most likely is that a lot of the time the squad that remains after the ground troops are killed off is a supply squad, because those are great in crew. And supply squads give a pretty big boost to AFW recovery, so even though they have the one squad, it's a supply squad, so it provides pretty good recovery anyway. I probably used too many words for that. So there's really nothing that this AFW can do. If it actually does manage to get into close combat range, I'm just gonna rapid punch it. Or even normal punching it would work. In fact, that might not be a bad idea because I can stop it from shooting in that way. Also, I just realized I'm doing exactly what Ryoko asked me to do, which was insane on the face of it. Well, what she probably wanted me to do was throw her against fresh anti-AFWs and just have her kill them all somehow. I consider this a highly acceptable substitute. Now this is a decision by the devs that I think must have been on purpose, which is it would be extremely easy for the computer to initiate close combat the second it reaches close combat range. Easiest if then ever. But instead they have the computer sort of take its time and give the player a chance to do something first. I feel like maybe named pilots shouldn't do that. But it's a design choice that I can respect. Now, this unit also has ink trap, however, this is at short range, where its anti-soldier power is reduced. And also its weapon is broken, so I'd say it's less of a worry than it normally would be. Now, that thing is just one huge block of armor, isn't it? Oh wow, that was a leg hit. So leg hits are the most difficult shots to make. Like, if you max out the aiming, it'll go for the leg. Weapon shots are more common at around the 80 to 90% range. And of course that was a completely wasted lucky leg shot, but I don't even care. Not even. And yep, he's getting over-leveled alright. Accurate fire. Now, you haven't seen me use Lysager's maximum attacks very often. And part of the reason is he often doesn't need them to finish off the enemy. But in the event that he goes up against, I don't know, a boss or something else that's really tough, if I use an accurate fire or two, he'll be able to destroy them regardless. It's that strong. As far as I know, no enemy in the game gets accurate fire. What it does is, it fires a shot. It always hits, and it deals something like an extra, what, 40-50% damage? So you can basically turn his maximum attacks into a supply of really good shells. I mean, the kind of special shells that squads bring with them, of course. And here, I'm going to show you why Ippei is good. I've been looking forward to this. And if you played this game, you might have also been looking forward to this. Now, starting a battle at long range seems like the worst situation for an anti-AFW pilot like Ippei. However, he has a maximum attack that fixes this. It is an extremely low frills maximum attack. It doesn't even do any damage on its own. However, it cuts out the whole getting into close combat difficulty, which is like 70% of the trick to using an AFW. I'll be plain. Quick move moves you forward by 2 distances. So if you're medium, you're close combat after the move. So you can do things like this. So the drawback to quick move is that you leave your troops behind and you have to wait for them to catch up. And until that time, you cannot move except with another quick move. That's why I took a couple steps forward into medium range before using it. However, it lets you receive disadvantaged attacks, move right forward into their faces, and end the battle, often without them being able to hit back at all. This is why Ippei is amazing at holding off the enemy's first strike. He will often take either no damage or minimum damage from the enemy's attack and deal a big chunk of damage in return, which leaves you in a great position to follow up with everything else and pretty much just take them apart. And this is also why the game took so long to give you an anti-AFW. Because, in short, against the enemies of the early game, it would just be massive overkill. Defensive overkill, as a matter of fact. Now that I think about it, it's appropriate that you get him in the first big quote-unquote defensive mission. And also, what do you mean we're out of luck? We're doing just fine. Also, Weizsägger's right. We were put in a really bad situation from the start, and we're actually holding up pretty okay. And, yes, I fully agree, you don't have time to think about luck. I can only imagine that John was being kind of sarcastic, but I can't say that he was really wrong here. Oh, this guy. This guy's the target. Remember when I said about Ippei and his ability to use quick move to end the battle and deal a lot of damage in the process? Minakawa can do that too. He loves to use quick move, and he also loves to follow it up with a rapid strike, which deals absurd damage, once again ending the battle. And then his units will follow up on you. Now, I'm trying to figure out whether I should try for wire, because they do have cleanup, but on the other hand, they might move their mechanics forward, and if that happens, I have a chance at hitting him first. Now, I'm not betting on this, because in my practice runs, he will often use quick move at the start of the battle, even at short range, and then it goes down to punches before my troops even have their skills charged. But you never know. Sometimes the random number generator is in my favor. Yeah, he's taking time to move his troops forward first, which is exactly what I need. I don't... Okay. I was about to say I don't know why I was taking my time to move my own troops, but actually I have to get the wire ready first, so I guess that's fair. Also, this is mostly a token shot. Honestly, I just should have taken an immediate shot at their AFW to cut down the shield a little bit. And now he's setting up to fire, and that's a really nice animation. I'd like to describe that particular cannon design a little bit more as well, but after the battle. Now, it's not going to take very long for them to realize what happened and move their cleanup mechanics to the back. So, even though this is short range, I want to take no chances and use quick move right away to punch him while he's still stuck in wire and can't hit back. Because this is a boss, you can probably guess how hard his punches are. So, we have accomplished step 1, and this is especially optimal because if Ippei had taken a punch, he would have a tougher time surviving against the entire enemy follow-up afterwards, and you know it's coming. Like this, Ippei at least will have no problems. Step 2. I gave Ayana the squad with 8 APCR shells. Step 2 is to have her attack the enemy from far away, restrict them with E-wire, which is always a pain to deal with, and just use emergency reload and fire all of the APCRs, or at least most of them, and hopefully that'll do enough damage. But we're not there yet. We're not there. Right now, Ippei still has some defending to do. Now, he doesn't have any really worthwhile skills except for quick move. Well, maximum attacks, I should say. His punching power is amazing. And I'm taking a bit of extra time here to use wire because I'd prefer not to let Ippei take any counterattacks. Unfortunately, that charge fire is going to remove my shield, but there's not much I can do about that. So as soon as the... Wow, they are really going out of their way to hit my troops. Fortunately, I don't often have to deploy them like this. I think that at this point he can take a couple of counter punches from medium AFWs if this happens again. And one of the nice things about close combat is that, unlike shells or other conventional attacks, they don't get limited by the shield. That is, if you have a shield that's at 10 health and you take a shell, you're not going to lose more than 10. However, close combat bypasses this. I mean, Minakawa is correct, to be sure. But we're not even talking about later. Alright. Now, I really like this mechanism on Minakawa's gun because one of the problems of anti-AFW guns is that a long barrel would get in the way of punching. So they put the barrel behind the machine and put it in place when it's about to fire. Also, this quick move scared the crap out of me. In my previous playthrough, Minakawa was reluctant to use quick move at long range because of the problem I mentioned before. However, now that it's at short range, my APCR shells are not gonna do as much damage. And I'm also not sure if I'll be able to hold the enemy in place for long enough to do all of my shooting. Today I learned something about check fire. I was thinking, why can't I move? He only dealt one level of damage to my legs, right? The answer is, in addition to dealing damage to the legs, check fire will straight up disable movement for a little while if it's successful. And I definitely want to keep E-Wire running. Now this is, although the shell wasn't enhanced, it's still a full-on hit from Ayana, and she does not get damage drop-off at short range from her normal gun. It's just that she doesn't get bonus APCR damage. This guy just has that much armor. Get used to that animation, by the way. Even in a practice game when I was firing at long range, those shells only did about 50. Also, I have to apologize for something. Specifically, I should have examined his stats and told you what that AFW was based off of before going in for this potential killing shot. But, you know, this is the sort of game where bosses like him will show up more than once, so there's really nothing to worry about. At least, not with that particular problem. Also, yes, he is outgunning me right now. I'll tell you what I shouldn't be doing. I shouldn't be waiting for a normal reload. I should just go ahead and use all of my emergency reloads right away. According to the description in the glossary between missions, emergency load and quick fire do basically the same thing. It says they fire immediately, but I think they changed it for balance reasons. Because immediately firing from four legs without having to take aim is extremely powerful, of course. And they figured, no, we shouldn't have shenanigans like that. Except they also have things like crew members with 8 shells. So if you really want to kill one thing, and I do, well, this is what I gotta do. It works pretty well, maybe. Oh, okay, so because he's standing now, I know that at any time he could start using Quick Move and ruin my day. And I am fresh out of emergency loads. I suspect that when I fight him later, it won't be as bad because, well, in this situation, I have to move forward under very dangerous circumstances and under a strict time limit. I might be able to get a better lure on him next time, which is why it's this super bonus objective right now, I guess. And yeah, I'm quite sure that even if I destroyed his legs with double E-wire, the same thing would play out like before. Yeah, so that was a decent amount of experience. That's the other reason I had Ayana take the job of AFW killing this time. I'm sure John would have done more damage, but this worked out. Of course, the map isn't done yet, but hey, you know, we got a big objective out of the way. We'll see how the rest goes next time. Later.